You know that feeling? Things are going great with her. The vibe is there, the texts are easy, and then out of nowhere, she slows down. Fewer messages, less energy, a little more distance. And now your brain's doing laps like, wait, did I mess this up? Here's the part most guys get wrong. When a woman pulls away right when things start getting good, it's not always because she lost interest. Sometimes it's because the connection is getting real, and that brings up fear, pressure, or old defenses. So, in this video, I'm breaking down the real psychology-backed reasons women do this, and why most guys read it completely wrong. Alright, first reason. Sometimes she pulls away because things started feeling real a little too fast. You know that shift, right? At first, everything's easy. She's texting back fast, laughing a lot, matching your energy, and the whole thing feels smooth. Then, after a couple really good dates, or one night where the connection gets deeper, she suddenly changes pace. Not gone, just lighter on the replies. A little more guarded. Like she hit the brakes without warning. A lot of guys see that and think, yep, she lost interest. Not always. Sometimes she didn't get turned off. Sometimes she got nervous. Because for some women, when something starts going from fun to emotionally real, that's when the alarm goes off. Not because you're the problem, but because now there's actually something to lose. That's the part most guys miss. We tend to think if it's going well, it should just keep going better. Straight line. More chemistry, more closeness, more momentum. But for someone who's starting to care, this is going well, can actually feel a little dangerous. Her brain's not saying, I don't like him. It's saying, whoa, slow down. If this keeps building, I might actually get attached. And attachment makes people feel exposed. That's when self-protection kicks in. She starts pulling back a little. Not always as a game, not always as a test, but as a way to regain some emotional control before she gets in too deep. So if her energy shifts right after things got better, don't automatically read that as rejection. Sometimes it's not disinterest. Sometimes it's too many feelings showing up at once. Okay, this one's underrated. Sometimes a woman pulls back not because she stopped feeling something, but because she felt a little too seen. You ever have one of those conversations where she starts opening up? She tells you something personal, gets a little more real, maybe shares a story she doesn't tell everybody, and for a moment, it feels like the two of you actually connected. Then a day or two later, she's still there, but different. Safer replies, less depth, more surface. That shift can feel confusing, because in your head, you're like, wait, we were getting somewhere, and you were. That's exactly why she pulled back. There's a word for that, vulnerability, or emotional exposure, if you want the psychology version. Basically, it's that weird moment when being understood stops feeling exciting and starts feeling risky. A lot of people love flirting. They love banter, chemistry, that fun back and forth, but being genuinely seen, that's different, because now it's not just playful. Now it feels personal, and once someone realizes, oh wow, this person can actually read me, that can bring up a little panic. Not because the vibe is bad, because the vibe is real. So if she was opening up, sharing more, letting you into the deeper parts of her world, and then suddenly starts dialing it back, don't rush to label her fake or say she's playing games. Sometimes she's not being inconsistent. She's trying to protect herself before she feels too exposed. Being liked is fun. Being seen too clearly, that's the part that makes a lot of people freeze. So no, she didn't always disappear because she felt nothing. Sometimes she pulled back because she felt a little too much. This one goes deeper. Ever notice how she doesn't fully disappear, but she's not as relaxed as before either? She still replies, she still shows up, but something feels more cautious. A little more guarded. Like one part of her wants to move closer, and another part is hitting the brakes. A lot of guys take that personally. They think, okay, I must have said something wrong, or maybe she's just not that into me. But sometimes you're looking at today's behavior while she's reacting with data from the past. That's the reframe. She's not only responding to who you are right now, she's also responding to what happened the last time she trusted too fast, opened up too much, or believed something that ended up hurting her. That's how emotional memory works. The brain doesn't just ask, "Do I like this person?" It also asks, "Is this safe this time?" And if she's been disappointed before, let on before, or got attached too quickly and paid for it later, that memory can show up even when you've done nothing wrong. So now her energy gets mixed. Some days she's warm, some days she pulls back, some moments she seems all in, and then suddenly she gets hard to read again. That doesn't always mean she's playing games. Sometimes that's self-protection. Not polished, not perfect, just human. And this matters, because it stops you from making everything about you. Not every slowdown means you lost points. Not every pause means you failed some invisible test. Sometimes you're not dealing with a lack of attraction. You're dealing with old fear getting triggered by new potential. So don't rush to label her damaged, complicated, or impossible. People get careful when openness has cost them before. Sometimes you're not the guy she's avoiding. You're just the guy who showed up right when an old fear got activated. Okay, this one's huge. Sometimes she pulls away because you started pushing the pace way harder than the connection was ready for. And yeah, a lot of guys miss this because they think, "I'm just being clear. I'm just showing interest." Cool. Consistent is good. Intense too early is different. You ever see this happen? A few great conversations, maybe 2 solid dates, and suddenly the energy shifts. Why? Because you went from enjoying the vibe to acting like this thing already has a title, a future, and a joint Costco membership. You start texting more, expecting more, hinting at exclusivity, talking like she's already locked in. To you, that feels intentional. To her, it can feel like pressure. And pressure changes the whole mood, especially early on. Because now she's not just feeling chemistry, she's feeling expectation. She's not just enjoying getting to know you. She's wondering how fast this is moving, and whether she has space to breathe inside it. That's the contrast right there. Clear is attractive. Desperate for certainty too soon? Not so much. A lot of women don't pull back because you were too little. They pull back because you became too much for the stage you were actually in. So if she starts creating distance after things were going well, look at the pacing. Were you staying steady? Or were you suddenly acting like a few strong moments meant full emotional access? Because chemistry is fragile early on. It needs room. It needs rhythm. It needs a little mystery and a little space to build naturally. So, no, being direct isn't always the problem, but moving too fast can be. Chemistry needs air to breathe, my guy, not to get squeezed to death right out of the gate. This one's subtle. Sometimes she pulls back a little, because she's trying to figure out whether what she feels is actually real. You ever notice how she doesn't fully disappear, but she gets a little quieter? Less texting, less initiating, not cold, just a step back, like she's checking something internally. And a lot of guys read that as manipulation. She's testing me. She wants attention. Maybe, but not always. Sometimes she's not testing you. She's testing her own feelings. That's the part most people miss. Because attraction can get messy fast. Maybe the chemistry is strong. Maybe the timing is perfect. Maybe she's been lonely. Maybe she just likes how seen she feels around you. All of that can create a rush. But a rush is not always clarity. So sometimes a woman creates a little space to see what's left when the immediate excitement calms down. There's actually a simple way to think about it. She's checking the signal. Or, if you want the psychology phrase, she's looking for emotional clarity. Basically, she's trying to figure out, do I actually miss him? Do I want to talk to him again? Or do I just like being liked right now? That's why the distance can look confusing. She hasn't vanished. She hasn't slammed the door. She just stopped feeding the momentum for a second to see whether the feeling comes back on its own. And if you don't understand that, this is where guys make it worse. They panic. They double text. They push for answers. They try to force certainty before she's had time to hear herself think. That pressure doesn't help. It just turns a natural pause into a problem. So no, every pullback is not some power game. Sometimes it's an internal check. Sometimes the space isn't there to leave. It's there to see whether her heart naturally comes back. This is the final boss. Sometimes she pulls away right when things are getting good because she realizes this could actually become something real, and that changes everything. Flirting is easy. Light chemistry is easy. A few fun dates, some tension, some late-night texting, that part is smooth. But real connection, that's different. Because real connection comes with real risk, real feelings, real responsibility, real potential to get hurt. So when she starts seeing that this isn't just a vibe anymore, it forces a bigger question. Not, do I like him? But, am I actually ready for something serious? And that's where a lot of people get quiet. Not because the connection is bad, but because now it means something. She's not just dealing with you at that point. She's dealing with herself. Is she healed enough for this? Does she actually want to choose one person? Is she ready to be honest, consistent, and emotionally present? That's a much heavier question than, do I enjoy talking to him? And when that question shows up, some people pull back to think. Some pull back because they know they're not ready. Some pull back because the idea of something real is a lot scarier than something casual. That's why this one hits different. A lot of people don't pull away when things are bad. They pull away right when things start feeling like they could become real. So here's the rule of thumb. Don't judge the whole situation by one cold day or one slower reply. Look at the pattern. If she pulls back when things get real, it's not always disinterest. Sometimes it's fear, old baggage, pressure, vulnerability, or her trying to figure out what she actually feels. That's why context matters, my guy. If you've ever had a woman pull away right when things were getting good, drop your story in the comments. And if you want to know what to do next without chasing too hard or ruining your chances, stick around. That next video's for you.